Lots of people, everything is a startup. When you're in 15, you're a startup. You have 16 years of experience of franchising. You work for someone, you know exactly how it works. You know all the SOPs, you know all the processes. So now here's your time to create a hacker franchise. Why not just start a franchise business of your own and give them franchise to do this?
Because we all run into hardships, we all run into problems, and sometimes you need a little bit of motivation to get past that. Not every day is a bright day. Some days you're sad, some days you're happy, and you just ride that roller coaster and then share your story and share your education. And you were talking about poverty, and we see, certain parts of the world have it more than others. They know how to run their business, but they don't know how to make strong passwords, document their data, train their employees, create standard operating, like this education that I give them, they don't really, you don't really get it in university, you don't get it in high school. You should be getting this stuff now, but usually people learn from trial and error. So all these traumatic events happen to them, or computer crashes, they lose data, they get hacked, somebody from around the world calls them, pretends them to be Microsoft or Apple, they get scammed. It happens in every country. I hear that it's especially bad in this country.
So hi everyone, today I'm with Mike Duffy. Mike is from Canada, exploring Dubai twice a year at least, I think.
Yeah, 2-3 times. I've got residency, so my office is in Silicon Oasis and here in Dubai. So I've following in one of my, I've been following somebody named Cameron Harold, and he's been a digital nomad, I think 39 months. He's also from Canada. And I was like,
Cameron was here?
Yeah, he was day one speaker. That's why you asked me. I jump from conference to conference, but I'm going to seek, because of course when you're following people on the internet, you're watching you're consuming their books, their podcasts. You're getting a piece of their. Everybody's older than me. I'm in my 40s, early 40s, and I'm just like, okay, wow, people are very accomplished.
Stop comparing yourself.
Well, I'm not comparing. It's just, how did they get to that part? How did they get where they got? Well, they started traveling. They started going to conferences. They started meeting people, right? Started sharing their experiences with the world, because we all run into hardships. We all run into problems, and sometimes you need a little bit of motivation to get past that. Not every day is a bright day. Some days you're sad, some days you're happy, and you just ride that roller coaster and then share your story and share your education. And, you were talking about poverty, and we see, certain parts of the world have it more than others, but, I deal with business owners, and some are very low income earners and some are high. And I'm like, well, how do we elevate the low income business owners to get to that next level? It's usually that they're missing some experience, some education, and then you're you're giving them a little bit of piece. For me, it's usually technology experience or website help, or interviewing them on my podcast so they get experience in front of the camera.
In Pakistan, everybody thinks if you move to Canada, everything would be fine. But you're like from Canada, and you're saying, you know what, I need to get out of Canada.
The challenge is that there's been huge immigration, which drives down everybody's wages. And then Canada is super expensive, and we're one of the most taxed countries in the world. So, and everything's far. Here in Dubai, you have everything close. Canada, you have to spend a lot of time driving, and I've spent a lot of my life driving, and I've realized that we only get a finite amount of time, and I spend a lot of time driving. So if I can just do everything from a laptop and not necessarily have to drive, I can save more time and impact more lives. Where do we do that? Do we do that in America? Do we do that here in Dubai?
You do it on the internet.
Do it on the internet from wherever. I do it from wherever I have my phone with me, right? So
wonderful. So tell you a little bit of your story. From what I know, you run a cybersecurity firm.
Yeah, I started self-employment in 2005. I ran a worldwide franchise based out of Calgary, Alberta. So that was great for 16 years. However, I was a franchise owner, which meant I had somebody else set of rules I had to live by, other people's morals and ethics and business operation rules I had to live by. And
This company was for what?
it was computer support. We went to people's businesses and helped them with their computers.
So franchise for computer support. So, and what was it called?
It was called Nerds on Site. So we drove little red Volkswagen Beetles around, but they have offices in Canada, US, South Africa, UK, Australia. I think at one time we had some in India, some little red motorcycles driving around. So
If today somebody wants to get the franchise for that, they can.
oh yeah, it still exists. I just outgrew that business model, and I felt that my daughter, my daughter was small, and I'm like, rather than me running somebody else's business, I want to run my own business. I take the experiences I learned from our franchise model, and I was already at that, during COVID, during 2020. Like when I was part of that franchise, that was, the internet existed, but it wasn't high speed. 2005, you're still dealing with dial-up internet in Canada. So remote support and, well, YouTube. I don't know if YouTube existed. A lot of the social medias we use today didn't exist. So I learned customer service and computer support during during that decade and a half. And then I decided, hey, I'm going to be 40, and why am I making somebody else rich when I could, I really want to give back. And also, I don't want to be limited. I was limited to a certain region. I was limited to doing everything in Calgary, Alberta. Nice city of 1.5 million people. But I was finding that I was getting meeting people in New York and Florida and all over the world. I have a couple customers in Europe, and I'm like, I don't want to be limited geographically. How do we expand? COVID came along. It was kind of a blessing to just force everything to be online. And then I'm like, you know what? What do I deal with? I deal with business owners who get hacked, because not every business owner has a lot of they know how to run their business, but they don't know how to make strong passwords, document their data, train their employees, create standard operating, this education that I give them, they don't really, you don't really get it in university, you don't get it in high school. You should be getting this stuff now, but usually people learn from trial and error. So all these traumatic events happen to them, or computer crashes, they lose data, they get hacked. Somebody from around the world calls them, pretends them to be Microsoft or Apple. They get scammed. It happens in every country. I hear that it's especially bad in this country. This is the first couple service calls we've been getting while in Dubai is scammers, phone scammers, WhatsApp scammers. So scams don't go away. So what do people need? It's not just business owners, residential customers, seniors, high school students. Everybody needs to understand that they need strong, secure passwords. They need to know the basic functionings of how to protect their data, have multiple copies of their data, and have one person that they trust. But really, in computer science and internet security, it's trust no one, right?
Why not you start a franchise business of your own and give them franchise to do this?
Nobody's asked me that question before, so I don't have a good answer. It's a startup, so we really just started.
Lots of people, everything is a startup.
Yeah.
When you're in 15, you're a startup. You go out and ask some girl to say hello.
Yeah.
Be my friend. So you
no,
start
I haven't been asked that. People most of the time they're like, "Why are you in Dubai?" And I'm like, I got a lot of reasons. We started out in Dubai because
you have 16 years of experience of franchising.
Yeah.
You work for someone, you know exactly how it works, you know all the SOPs, you know all the processes. So now here's your time to create a hacker franchise.
Well,
business.
that's why we've got this registered .ca.com and .ae. So that might be the next step.
Dontgethacked.com.
Yeah, Dontgethacked.com. The reason I chose, people ask me why I chose that name. I'm like, because everybody is reactive and everybody, all my experience is people getting hacked, right? And then I'm like, real that this is education. A lot of people need to, they know of it because it happens to friends and families. You hear about it on the news, but am I realistically, everyone gets hacked, whether it's a scam or somebody, like there's always tricksters out there on the internet. I've been tricked, even with this amount of knowledge, I've been tricked, and I'm like, okay, there's
I
a lot
think
of
there's a lot of problem which will happen because of agents and AI of hacking even more because
Well-
it'll be faster and easier to hack.
Well, it is. Plus, there's always going to be new things on the market. Like first, it's Bitcoin, and then crypto, and then
And now your mom calling you and saying, "Hey, I'm stuck."
But there was also the NFT phase where everybody was dumping money. Like it's just there's always new technology out there, and then people have FOMO, fear of missing out, and they just jump into things, which sometimes risk gives you massive rewards, and other times risk means it hands you a lot of disappointment. So yeah,
Let's get you some franchisees. So if you want to
franchisees.
if you want to franchise this business, which is, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, we can.
So if you want to, if you're a cybersecurity person, if you like hacking, you like cybersecurity, you want to take advantage of his experience of life of the last 20 years, contact Mike Duffy, on LinkedIn and Facebook, and say, hey, I want to franchise, and maybe he'll partner with you, maybe he will not, because selecting the right partner for franchise is a very important thing, because if you don't find the right partner, it gets problematic. So definitely, if you're a cybersecurity person, get in touch with them and start this business, because it's going to be it's more and more people are coming online, especially elderly, and they get hacked easily. And hacking is not just on the computers. Now it's being hacked in our heads, because if you read *Sapiens* or any other book by the same gentleman, Noah Harari, you would understand that the clickbaits are hacking our heads. The ads, the reels, the videos, they're all hacking with our heads. And we need to understand and educate people, and that's where
there's AI like ChatGPT, all these things, and you're just inputting stuff, and you're like, where's that going?
Yeah. So basically, it's educating, and that's what he's saying. Don't get hacked. So protect yourself before you get hacked, instead of being upset.
Well, it's really reducing trauma, because we know it's going to happen. We know you're going to have data loss. There's always going to be something that happens. And it's, all the books I have, or I've been co-author, I'm just like, it's just having a plan.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people get stressed out, and then they get upset, and then the whole world stops. Where I'm like, realistically, we know what's going to happen. So just have a plan, have your, passwords in a secure place, mail a copy to your mother, or what, just make sure you've got a copy of everything. And if you need help, then we've got a worldwide team, and I guess we're looking for franchisees now, because there's a lot of knowledge up here that's well documented, but we're looking for people, multiple languages. We're already supporting English, Spanish, and it's Urdu, I think. We're looking for Arabic speakers, because I just had a chat with a lady today from Abu Dhabi, and she's like, I need help with this, and it should all be in Arabic. And I'm like, perfect. I've got your phone number now. So having conversations with new people. I know we said we were going to do an interview, so I guess this is the interview that we've chatted about in the past. So just go with life, and then the roads it takes you down.
What would be your 3 wishes to the lamp of Aladdin, the genie of Aladdin?
My 3 wishes. That's a good. Prosperity for all. Getting rid of poverty is super important, because life's too short, and I've already escaped a vehicle fire, and I know that I'm here for a bigger purpose. So prosperity for all. I think that the world needs more love too, and wealth, health is wealth. It's just, at the end of the day, money
Friendship.
will get you certain things, but health is super important. Love is super important because you need to love everybody at the end of the day because there's too much hate out there. I'm a very simple person. I'm might be very knowledgeable of cybersecurity, but at the end of the day, it's I want everybody to live in peace. I want everybody to prosper and do what you love. Because not everybody's into computers. Some people like mechanical. Some people like to be carpenters. Some people just like baking and cooking. Like, find your passion and do what you love, because every day is a precious gift that we get.
So Mike Duffy, everyone, send him love, inbox him, not with photos, with love, with kind words. Study him, watch the video.
And add me on Facebook. Anybody who doesn't anyone who doesn't interact with me, I just remove and I add the next person on. Same with LinkedIn. I already get a lot of emails into my email inbox, so I respond to everybody. And the Don't Get Hacked channel on YouTube, we need more subscribers. We are monetized now. We're over 1,000 subscribers and enough watch time, but that's what we also do. We help YouTubers get monetized within 30 to 60 days. We figured that out after 3 years of how to streamline that process using AI. So there's a lot of things that we can help you out with.
But don't get hacked.
But don't get hacked. It's important because when I leave this body, this world, there's still going to be technology out there. If there's AI's coming to this area really quicker than other areas, and that's Mind Valley. They were showing us, 5 years of robots walking down the street of Dubai and all this stuff, and you're like, wow.
This is one of the first countries to have an AI minister.
Yeah.
So they're really ready for it.
Well, they embrace me with open arms. They're like, perfect. We love your company name. We love your education.
Here's a golden visa.
Not quite. Cameron Harold, though, got approved for it, so I'm very jealous. But he's also running a huge operation where they educate COOs, and but he's been working in the Middle East for like a decade already. So
I think if you apply, you'll get it too. I'll have a friend who can help you.
okay. That's why I was so disappointed. I applied for Dubai government influencer program in November, and I was approved, shortlisted. And then a week before it started, I'm like, is this a yes or a no? And then last minute, sorry. And I was like, really? Are you kidding
What's
me?
the Dubai government influencer program?
The field program. I was supposed to be here for a month, and I had to. It was pages and pages. I had to write. You couldn't use ChatGPT. You had to write what your goals and visions for the UAE were, and what your experience was, and I was preaching cybersecurity and education for everybody.
Is it a golden visa program or something?
No, but I was hoping to use that experience in that program to be a stepping stone for the golden visa, because
I think you should get it. I'll
okay.
have
Well,
somebody talk to you.
I know a lot of people say it's you just have to apply if you're important. And it's like,
everybody thinks they're important.
I don't want to doubt myself, but I'm like, there's a lot of, as I said, there's a reason we chose the UAE and Dubai to be our first international office.
But you're already resident, right? So
well, yeah, I'm already a resident.
don't
I
need
just
to
renewed.
get
I just renewed my business license in December for the second year, so I didn't have the cash flow to pay for multiple years at the same time, but.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
But
I did not know that.
I was given a package. All the business setup companies, they have their packages, right? So I feel confident with the one we chose, but I was like, okay, we'll just do it. At the end of the day, every time you open up a new business or a new office, it's a risk, because you're investing in that city, in the people, and the possibilities, right? So that's why I spent time in New Jersey, because it's close to New York. I have business partners there, but developing business in each country is different, and it's a full-time job. It's like your school's probably a full-time job.
Yeah, but I have a lot of help.
Oh, I bet you have a lot of help, because if you're not, how many students is there? Is it both physical and virtual, or?
I I think I have around 60 people working.
Okay. So what drove you to set that up? Like,
So my goal was to end poverty from the world. I created that 14 years ago, that goal.
okay.
And then I started teaching entrepreneurship. I kind of failed. Nobody wanted to learn. My goal was to help at least 1 million people start up their own business. I am used to setting up difficult goals. I like bigger challenges, like a lot of people do. So I wanted to help at least 1 million people start a business with only $100 and make at least $300 a month.
Okay.
And so I did that for 4 years. I couldn't get a lot of people convinced, but I created a lot of content because of that, and I learned a lot of things. And as I was telling earlier, I've been into IT since I was 14.
Okay.
That's when I started my first company, and I was into Commodore 64. I don't know if you've ever used one. Then went into making some hardwares, like modems and stuff. Then I went into selling UPSs and fax modem cards,
Okay.
and email service, and internet service, and telephony service. So that's how my journey started. And so for around 13, 14, 12 years, 13 years, I've been full-time working as a philanthropist rather than working on my own business. And that kind of constantly brought my businesses down. And I finally closed them all, and the last one is almost about to be sold. So I will be totally dedicated on the school part. 3 years ago, I decided to create a earning center where people can come in and learn again, which I was trying to teach. But I couldn't find a lot of adults to learn, but I did create curriculums for that. And then that curriculum went, if you want to have,
Okay.
that curriculum went somehow to the school, and the children were adopting that curriculum very quickly. And I found that my return on investment on my time to educate a 12-year-old, 14-year-old was much faster than a 40-year-old or a 30-year-old.
I can believe it. I do tech support.
Yeah, so
I can show my daughter's one thing and she'll just replicate it and go with it. And
so last year, we decided to close all the adult work, and I am now trying to avoid as many people who are over 18 as possible.
okay.
And just focusing on 9 to 16-year-olders. And we have 250 students now. We
Okay,
started with
wow.
20.
Okay.
And I'm creating a new kind of curriculum from scratch. I don't think I have ever seen anybody create a curriculum for the post-internet era or the post-AI era. All the schools which I have seen try to bring in technology towards education. And I'm saying, no, we need to rethink on how education should be, because it doesn't work in real life. Whatever you learn in school, very, very small percentage is used in real life. Whereas you have to relearn how to live life when you are in practical life. So I've taken out all the subjects since Arrival of ChatGPT. There's no English, there's no math, there's no algebra, there's no biology, no chemistry, nothing. And we're just going back to giving everybody a laptop, a smartphone, introducing them to social media at a very young age, and teaching them how to learn anything they want. So the curriculum is designed in a way where they're forced to create a documentary every day.
Okay.
Every single day they have to make a documentary on a subject. So imagine you will create a documentary on metamorphosis or getting hacked. So in order to do that, you will need to learn a little bit what that topic is. And then you have to go and find content. You have to stitch it all together. It takes at least an hour to do all that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And by that time, you learn whatever the subject you're learning. Similarly, we have chosen 120 world problems, which are with at least 10 million people. So for example, in Pakistan, still we have water issues, electricity issues, solar panel issues, road issues, many small little things. So we give a new name to the child. So for example, you will be Mike Duffy Hackerwala.
Yeah, okay.
So-
I asked my employee about the last names.
Wala thing.
Yeah.
So Wala basically is like a smith,
Yes.
so like an expert on something. So you, yeah, after 1 year of basic IT training and AI training, then you get a Wala. And then as a water Wala or hacking Wala, you have to watch a TED talk on hacking every day, then make your own TED talk about what did you learn from that and put it on social media. And then contact the person who gave the TED talk and ask them for a podcast. So in a year's time, you have to do 200 episodes of podcast with subject expert.
That's a lot.
With a subject expert. So
Yeah.
just like what you're going to conferences for networking, it wouldn't cost you anything. If you're doing this at 10 years of age, everybody will say yes to you because you're so young and cute.
Yes.
By the time you're gray hair, they're like, no, we're fine.
Yeah.
So you have to go to conferences. But as a child, you can literally tweet them, Facebook them, LinkedIn them, and say, hey, Mr. Hell, can I get 30 minutes of your time because I've seen your TED talk and here's my video about it. I would like to further podcast with you on that. So that's how they build network.
Yeah.
So from 6, 7, and 8, they have to do 600 episodes of a podcast on the same subject, and also give 600 interviews to other people. So their vocabulary grows, their communication grows, their network grows. They are already like a small little Malala in their own space. They're becoming famous in that space. And since I come from a poor country, education is not necessarily free. So we teach them how to earn while they're in 6th grade. So at 6th grade, you have to earn $100 a month, and you don't go to 7th if you don't earn that. In 7th, you will have to earn $200 a month. You don't go to 8th grade if you don't do that. And at 8th grade, you have to earn at least $500 a month freelancing, or as a VA or whatever you can get your hands on legally.
Okay.
And then you can get to 9th grade. And at 9th grade, we help you start your own startup in that same space, which you were, say, for example, hacker, Wala. So, and in 9th, 10th, 11th, you grow. You partner with Antler, Y Combinator, and all that good stuff, and then try to sell it off before you graduate from high school for at least $1 million. And all this, we facilitate the whole curriculum. We act as a facilitator. We don't teach anything. So everything is self-learning. Everybody in the classroom is there to help you, facilitate you, and the internet is there. AI is there.
Okay.
Our job is to make you success, make you a millionaire before you graduate, and make you impact of at least 1 million people. So, for example, if you educated, you have 1,000 subscribers. So, what if you had 1 million subscribers? You've already helped 1 million people not getting hacked, because the world has 8 billion people. You can't charge everyone. So, you need to make a larger impact.
Yes.
So, you help at least 1 million people before you graduate high school. Then you earn $1 million for yourself, and you make a name in the top 50 of that space which we are choosing for you in the planet. You're becoming a key person of influence in that space. So these are our 3 fundamental goals towards these students. So it's an interesting project, and I think if my goal is to do this for at least 1,000 kids, and that's it. If I'm able to do it 1,000 times, I think the world will be able to copy this model. It's all open source. Anybody can see it, copy it. I don't mind, because I want, just like you, everybody to be prosperous. You don't have to be poor for no reason. There's no reason for that.
No. Sometimes it's lack of education. Sometimes, when you get older, it's choice.
That's what I'm doing.
I just like, when I look at my family or other people's family, I'm like, okay, some people chose to do the education and keep on growing their skill sets, and other people don't. So, but they should at least have the choice and the access to education to do that. So, that's very interesting about your school. That's kind of like what I'm doing with my daughter. She's been homeschooled since day one. So
the problem with homeschooling is you can only do so much for your children, because they need other children to learn from. They need peers. So humans learn 70% from peers. They will not listen to you, but she will listen to her best friend. That's why you need a classroom environment or friends. So if in our school, the teachers are the students themselves. So we guide the one student, and we make them a monitor of the classroom and a teacher for 2 weeks. They learn and they teach everybody else. The regular teacher in our school is called a facilitator. Their job is to make sure they don't quarrel, they don't fight, they follow ethics, hygiene, they stay in the room. And the student's job is to teach everybody else. So instead of, no, don't copy this. In our schooling, there's like, you can't see what she's doing. You're saying, no, you have to see what they're doing.
Exactly.
Because that's how the real world works.
Exactly.
The real world, you copy
You
everything.
copy, that's the best, you know.
So, but in school, for some reason, they were like trying to memorize everything. In today's world, when you have devices where you don't need to memorize anything anymore, why not use it for bigger thing? In real life today, almost 99.9% of the people will never become a millionaire in the first 10 years after they graduate. My goal is to flip that, change that altogether, and have abundance for everyone. Why don't you go and do a world tour when you're 21? You have $1 million, buy yourself a house, buy yourself a car, take a world tour. You still have some $500,000 to do some passive income. Buy some apartments or something and let the rent money sit in there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Then decide what big thing you want to do in life. Rather than, oh my God, I just graduated, now I have to really go back to life. Well, I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm trying this way.
Yeah. Well, everybody's got, and the first million is always the hardest. And then people say once you figure that out, then
it's easier.
It's easier, but a lot of people don't have access to. You're literally teaching them to be entrepreneurs and to figure things out, and you know.
We're there to support them. Our goal is to create that curriculum, the support system, the ecosystem, that it just happens. Just like 100 years ago, they were saying that not everybody can read and write. 97% of the world did not read and write 100 years ago. Today, majority of the world can read.
There's a lot of famous people who didn't know how to read. And they got up to a certain point, but they learned how to get other people to do things for them, and just that's how they grew their social groups. So,
yeah. So that's we're rethinking how the school should look like. We're not trying to copy anyone. We don't know. We'll fail a lot of times, but it's just a startup. It's like running a startup. We don't know what to do. But you can see, you can learn. There's so many biographies from all the amazing people that this is what I did, this is what I did. So we're trying to incorporate habits at a very young age. If you incorporate good habits at a very young age, then everything else is a byproduct.
The most important thing is for them asking for help or asking for interviews, because most people are scared to do that. They're just like, I want to go to a job and be told what to do and then just get paid.
That's because that's how they were raised. That's how, whatever you will raise. If you were growing up in Japan, you would be speaking Japanese. That's what you were taught.
Exactly.
So if you were taught to be a job person, that's what you would be.
Exactly.
It's not anybody's fault. That's how the system is being designed. If you don't go to school, like, oh, you don't go to school? Why homeschooling? It's illegal in Germany. You go to jail for that.
Yeah, I know, and it's accepted. So I just knew that I did not excel well in school, so I excel well as an entrepreneur. But being told what to do just is not.
Yeah,
I struggled, and it's like. Math, I struggled the most. Sciences were amazing, but math, I struggled with it. And now as a business owner, it's no problem. But there's tools. I don't need to, everything's just auto done for me. I don't have to worry about that. Yeah. It's the communication skills and the socialization skills that are super important. And that's what my worry was with our daughter being homeschooled, but she's one of the most active, outgoing people in the world. But that's when you're like, okay, we want you to do this. We want you to do this. We want you to do this.
She should be a co-founder in the business.
Well, no, that's why I'm building this up. So this is why I was like, okay, you need to make a YouTube channel. And then she went on to 2 of them. And I was like, perfect. And she is learned CapCut all by herself. No instructions given. It's like, here's the old iPad, here's the old iPhone. You figure it out, and you ask us for help. So the things that she may argue against would be like cleaning or doing dishes or the household chores. But now at 12, it's less of a pushback, because I'm like, okay, you can have the fun stuff, but like arts, like manually drawing and coloring, she just loves that. So, and now it's like, hey, I'm gonna just live stream this for an hour. But she realizes rather she wants interaction, so she's literally reading comments on the screen while she's drawing stuff out, and she's like, oh, I thought an hour would be challenging. And I did it for 2 hours. I'm like, see, you just talked yourself right into that. So now you're going to want to do this all the time. So at the end of the day, it's nice to share our gifts and our skills with other people because you empower them to do it, and then you also learn more about yourself and what you do like doing and what you don't like doing. So she discovered she wants to have an audience while she's doing manual drawing or drawing on the iPad. So it's like, there you go. You wouldn't have known that until you actually did it.
She can be guest in a few podcasts in our school online.
She would probably thoroughly enjoy that. So yeah, no, it's but that's why I'm like new experiences, because you don't know what you don't like and what you do like until you run into new experiences, right?
Exactly. I
came to Dubai for the first time, wasn't sure what to expect, but I'm like, oh, I just love the energy, love the buildings, love the city. But that was also in the winter, not summertime. So, and but then traveling's always fun, and well, not always fun. Flights aren't always fun, but Emirates was better experience than Air Canada and better experience than Turkish Airlines. It's like perfect. I just fly Emirates every time coming here now. Out of New York, it's shorter with a stop in Athens, right? But I wouldn't have known that without flying a few times to Dubai with a bunch of different airlines from a bunch of different destination cities, right? So.
Any other questions on your mind?
I don't have any questions. No, no. I just
Your-
wanted to make you gave me the opportunity to come for an interview, and I'm like, perfect.
Your colleague, you were saying that he knows me from somewhere.
Well, he's from Pakistan, and he knows of you. I don't know how much he knows of you, but I was asking about the wall, the last names for all the students, right? The wall, and he gave me a little bit of he explained it, and I was like, okay, perfect, because of course, if you don't know, you ask questions, and then you get the answer that you're looking for. So,
I will be very happy. Do you want some more tea?
Sure.
I would be very happy if you could take some of our students as interns. So one of the requirements we have is that once you spend 6 months in our school, you have to intern for 3 months for free with any company for 3 hours a day.
Okay.
And these kids are really amazing at graphics, just like your daughter. Graphic designing, content creation. You can just tell them.
They might work out better than the virtual assistants I've had in the past, because this is the challenge I've had where people show up and then they disappear, and you're like, what happened to you? Did you die? Were you hit by because when you're dealing with people remotely, life happens, and some people aren't the best at communications. So.
Yeah. Well, most of them are not, but these kids are, because they have to go through at least 100 episodes of podcasts before they.
That is more than most adults and most business owners. So this is why with MUPO Entertainment we built this worldwide podcast distribution business, because we wanted to help business owners get their messages out and own their own content, right? Because unfortunately, when you put it on Apple and Spotify, they own it, and you're restricted with the money you can make off your ads. But then I found.
So tell me about this business.
So MUPO Entertainment, it's based in New Jersey. I joined 3 years ago, and
It's not yours.
I'm the chief technology officer, so I'm co-founder. But they had the idea before I joined. But we have a worldwide podcast creation and distribution system backed by some industry legends from Hollywood. So. It was all born out of COVID, because what happens is when you have a TV show, you don't have the rights to it. Anything that's put on to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Netflix, whatever, you're signing away your rights to it. Your right to make income from it, your right for rebroadcasting it, et cetera, et cetera. So we know that in order for you to advertise yourself, video is the best format for that. And rather than being hidden behind, social media is great, but Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, all these are walled gardens, and they own your content. So we built MUPO Entertainment so that you own your own content, and if you choose to monetize it, you would choose to go and ask advertisers to advertise on your show, and we distribute it to, I think we're at 1,000 countries worldwide right now. We have our own app. It's on Vimeo. We got a website. we're coaching business owners to build their video content because a lot of people want to be famous. And I'm like, well, what's your you either have a show about hacking. I've got 2 shows. I've got the Don't Get Hacked, Call Me for Help podcast, and then I have a interview show where I've been interviewing business owners because I want to help business owners get in front of the camera and explain to us what they do or show us how before and afters, like what amazing things they do with their clients. And but then I was finding that a lot of, you were talking about how many episodes your students do. Adults have a really hard time with discipline and with creating content. They'll maybe get a full Hollywood, a typical Hollywood season is 13 episodes. They may make 1 season, they may make 2, and then they kind of lose interest unless they have viewers. More, everybody at the end of the day is looking for return on investment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you know, you're building your credibility, you're building your discipline of recording this stuff. At the end of the day, people want to see customers or cash flow at the end of the day. And that's kind of what led me to the utilizing YouTube, because it's for teaching people how to make, learning. We're learning with YouTube. It's not behind a walled garden, and I'm training business owners to be okay with what the world thinks of their content, right? Because if we throw it up at a podcast, we've got downloads and views, but we don't actually have engagement analytics to say, okay, somebody watched the full episode, or your viewers are dropping off after the first minute or 2. You get kind of analytics from the other, like TikTok and Facebook, but you don't get the same analytics that you do from YouTube. So I thought, okay, we need all the business owners out there to share their stories about why they started their business, what they do, and but in order to get them to do longer form content, we need to figure out how do they excel at short form content. Because once you're good at short form content and recording yourself every day, then you can start compounding that and making longer content.
Amazing.
But it's like, your students, you're making them do X amount of episodes, right? You're giving them a goal, you're giving them that finish line that they have to get to. And in order for them to advance to the next grade, they have to do it. Where business owners will start doing something and get distracted with shiny object syndrome and then walk away. They're like, oh, it didn't work out. I'm like, you only did 1 episode, or you only did 13 episodes. Let's get you to 100 episodes.
Then it'll actually start working.
And then we'll see what the return, then we'll see, because it's like anybody, even if you take, Grant Cardone, he's been recording content for decades. So you see, if you look at the old stuff, you see the old style suit, you see the old style of hair, the beard, all that stuff. And the old stuff on VHS is VHS quality. And it's not the same personality. Now it's a bold, brash personality because that's what gets clicks on YouTube and social media. But beforehand on VHS, it's a different attitude. It's a different style of video, right? But when you do go through the training, you're like, okay, this training still resonates. It doesn't matter if it's 5 years old or 20 years old, but then you can just see the difference between how he carries himself. That's why I like Grant Cardone, because it was like, okay, I can tell he's been training on it for decades, right? But of course, your message has to be different. 20 years ago, how your delivery style changes. So I go from no beard to a beard.
So thank you, Mike.
Well, thank you.
This is some of our curriculum.
Wow.
These are books
okay, you
for
actually have
5th graders.
That is so cool.
This is for 5th grader for coding. So if your daughter wants or you want, you can learn to code in a month's time using AI. This is simple coding. You make calculator and.
Oh yeah, cool. I don't have her doing any of that. So my Bachelor of Science is computer information. I'm a programmer from back in the day. But
when you do this book, you end up making your own WhatsApp. You end up making your own Facebook. You end up making your own YouTube.
Okay.
It takes another month. When you do this book, you make your own Amazon. You make your own Daraz. You make your own PayPal and all kind of stuff. This is again for 5th graders.
Okay.
So we're basically.
So you're sending me with homework, is what you're telling me.
No, I'm just telling you what you're doing. And then we don't hire any teachers till they go through our own training program, because most of the teachers have no clue what AI is, how it works, and they're also shy. So we make them go through this teacher training program.
Okay.
And this is our regular school book. So for example, when they come to the school, so day 24, this is task-based schooling. There's all points-based. Everything is points. There's you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do everything. You don't have to do quality, but you have to do the quantity. You have to run. You have to make it.
Oh yeah.
So by the time you cross 300 days, you're a genius. You already have done 200 episodes of podcasting. You have had a conversation with an AI for
it's interesting. You get the concept of faceless video in there.
Yeah, same thing, like a documentary.
Yeah.
So they all have YouTube channels. They all have.
No, I've seen some of what everybody's been doing. Of course, I don't get to spend that much time looking at it because that's why I try not to do it. That's why I'm like, I had to get out of Canada, not drive as much. So I could spend more time on my business. But then I think I've got a couple interview requests in my inbox right now. So,
but do it with people who have done at least 100 episodes. Don't do it with.
I don't
students.
know. How do I know if ask them. Ask them how many episodes they did. Okay.
If you don't know something, you ask, right?
Okay.
So
I didn't know how many episodes they were supposed to have done before they're reaching out to me. I'm
now
assuming they're likely all your students if they're reaching out.
If they're reaching out for interviews, most likely there are students, because most of the people are shy and they don't have time. So if they have done 100 Urdu, and I would say give interview to people who have given at least 50 English interviews, so that their English is eloquent, they're actually experienced, they will be punctual.
I haven't really had too much problem other than internet connections, because they're really good with prompting you on questions, because the question shows up on the screen. I'm like, oh my God, adults can't figure this out, but the kids are figuring this out, because at the end of the day,
because they've done
because I'm like, if the internet connection's bad, as long as I'm prompted with the question,
their internet connections go fine after 150 episodes, because it's not the internet, it's where they're sitting, it's how they're connecting to the computer. The teachers don't have a clue how the internet works.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to explain that the way you go forward with the interviews is, because we have 250 students. All they have to do is go and interview everyone, and then they come to you. Okay. So before we didn't have so many students, so we were having problems on who could they interview. Now I'm going around the world opening schools. Like I'm going to San Francisco next.
Yeah, I saw you post about.
And the reason I'm doing that is because then I need people from other parts of the world to interview with these kids. So they're students, talk, become friends, friends with your enemies. Just like Jesus said. So we're basically trying, to have these pockets of humans from around the world, so they can see they're also humans. They're not Arabs or English or Canadians. They're just human beings first. They're all cousins. They're all, if you're Muslim or any other Abrahamic religion follower, we all believe there was only Adam and Eve, so they're all cousins. Why are you so afraid of your cousins? So
because we've been programmed to be afraid, right?
So why not unprogram it? So the way you unprogram is by communicating to others who you think
exactly.
You're the bad guy.
Yeah.
Why not have a communication?
That's why I was like, why are you in Dubai? I'm like, because you know what? Because somebody reached out for help. That's why. Because they're like, hey, your businesses don't get hacked. I've been hacked. You're the person I need to talk to. And it was so easy to flip it. So.
Thank you again, Mike.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being in Dubai at the same time. And I didn't realize that, because you were at the 1 billion followers summit, right? I heard about that after Mind Valley, and I
saw a Mind Valley ad. I would have bought the ticket, but I saw that it said online only, and I was like, why?
I think they were having some technical challenges, because when I was trying to buy my VIP ticket, because I knew I wanted to get backstage access to a few people, it just didn't work. Wouldn't accept my credit card for days. If I knew Cameron was
here, I would have asked him out for dinner or something. Vishen
is
so busy. I never asked
him. Vishen just bought a condo, and there's some building here that is, I don't know.
Something.
Yeah. No, he just.
But Darius, I know him for like 4, 5, 6 years. So he's easy to reach out to.
I got a picture with him today because he remembered me. So I was supposed to be here for the Gladiator Summit, but that didn't work out. So.
But you went to the Sharjah Grand Cordon and
Yes, I sat next to him, and that's where I met him and his wife. So, and then he invited me to be on his podcast, and I'm like, I told him I need to help him with his YouTube a little bit. So, and he's like, why? And I'm like, I'm just saying, there's a little bit of a there's a little bit of TLC, a little bit of a couple tweaks, just based on my 3 years of experience with helping other people with their channels, because this came the MUPO came along first, and I'm like, wait a minute, I have to tell people they need to improve their content, and how do you do that in a nice way? Let's throw it up on a different platform and see what not our viewers think, what the whole world thinks, and then you're like, okay, tweak this, change this, and then but not everybody likes. When you're a kid, you get constructive criticism from your teachers, but when you're an adult, you're run away from it because you don't want to be told what to do. But when you're a coach, you got to tell people how to fix it, right? That's the only way you improve and get better. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And
I knew this was going to come up eventually, but at least it was way better in person. Virtual is great, but in person is so much better.
Yeah, we can have hot tea. Thank you, everyone.
This is it's beautiful weather out. Yeah.
Lucky you. Normally, it's really hot here.
I know that in summer it is, and I don't know if this winter has been rainy like it was the previous winter. Yet. No, okay. I haven't seen any flooded out roads like I did last February, March. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. And these are for me to take.
Just to see.
Just to see. Okay.